going to go ahead and look at angle relationships. The first angle relationship we're looking at is going to be the adjacent angles. Now, adjacent angles mean that they're next to each other. So in the diagram shown, you have angle ABD, which is cut by ray C. So we're going to have two angles, ABDC and CBD. So angles 1 and 2 share a common vertex, which is B. Angles 1 and 2 also share a common side, which is BC. And there are no common interior points. Then you have what's called a complementary angle. A complementary angle is going to become a right angle. So you have angles 1 and 2 that make a right angle, which is equivalent to 90 degrees. Or you can have two separate angles, only two, that add up to 90 degrees. So in the example that's provided, angle 1 is 50 degrees, angle 2 is 40 degrees. When I add those together, I get 50. So again, two angles whose sum is 90 can be shown on a right angle and can be two separate angles. Vertical angles. And vertical angles have a diagram where two lines intersect each other and you create four different angles. We're going to indicate them by numbers 1 through 4. So the facts of a vertical angles are that pairs 1 and 3 are congruent and pairs 2 and 4 are congruent. Basically, what congruency means is that they're equal to each other. Another fact of vertical angles is that non-adjacent angles are formed by lines that intersect. Again, these are two different lines and we cross them to create the intersection. And the intersection right here is B, and they create non-adjacent angles, which means angles that are not next to each other. That's why the pairs are, if you look at how we named the pairs, 1 and 3 are odd numbers and 2 and 4 are even numbers. Or supplementary angles. This is a set of two angles that are equivalent to 180 degrees. So it's a flat line that we cut by another angle. So in this case, angles 3 and 4. They can be on the same line or they can be two separate angles that add up to 180 degrees. So suppose we have angle 3, we assign it 120 degrees. That means that angle 4 would be the difference between 180 minus 120, which would be 60 degrees. They have to add up to 180. Or when you subtract one of the angles from 180, you're going to get the value of the second angle. Again, two angles whose sum is 180 is what supplementary angles are. Another thing is that they can share a line or they can be two separate angles, again, that sum to 180. Perpendicular angles are two angles that intersect or two lines that intersect to create specifically right angles. So the attributes of perpendicular angles are lines that intersect to form four right angles. That is in the given situation. They are also congruent and adjacent angles. Congruent means that all the angles shown are equal to each other and all the angles shown are next to each other. Another attribute is that you can now say that AC or line AC is perpendicular to BD. So let's see what that looks like. Line AC is perpendicular to BD. That means I have right angles every which way. And the symbol for perpendicular is like an upside down T. Another symbol would also be an upside down T with that square in the corner to indicate a right angle. Another way to look at a right angle would also be to have a line bisected by another line. So both sides would give me 90 degrees. So that's another form of a right angle. Or sorry, perpendicular angles. So linear pairs in this example, they are going to be angles 5 and 6, and they fall on a line. So linear pairs look like supplementary angles. Remember, pair means two angles. Another fact about linear pairs is that they are adjacent angles with non-common sides. In addition, the non-common sides are opposite rays. And also, they are considered supplementary angles, which means that they have a value of 180 degrees.